Hello YouTube, and today I'm going to talk about Total War. Total War is one of my favorite computer games of all time. The first one I ever got was Medieval 2 Total War, which is probably my favorite still. And then after that I got uh, the original Rome Total War, and then I got Shogun 2 Total War. So Medieval 2 Total War, I really liked it. So Total War in general, it seems to do a really good job immersing you in whatever environment you're in, whether it's medieval Europe or whether it's um, Japan or Rome. Oh, and I also got Empire Total War too, with the Napoleon expansions. I think I got all of them with expansions. But anyway, uh, yeah, I think they usually come with the base game and then one expansion for Total War. But anyway, so yeah, Medieval 2 Total War is probably my favorite because I like medieval times and knights and things like that. You can kind of have some Vikings with the Scandinavian factions. That's the only thing I would recommend about Medieval 2 Total War that I think they could do better would be the Vikings. I think they could have like a Viking campaign in like the year 900 or something like that. And maybe have an earlier game too with like the Franks and the Anglo-Saxons and different things like that. But overall, definitely a fun game. The base game is just phenomenal and fun to play again and again. And totally immerses you in knights and custom battles with having knights in shiny armor, charging on horseback, and catapults and castles. So definitely enjoyed Medieval 2. And then after that, I got some of the other ones. So Empire Total War, I really like that. There have been some people online that say the base game you can't really play it, but just by itself you have to like mod it and stuff. But I've never modded any of my Total War games, and I still have plenty of fun with them. So Empire Total War, I really like the naval battles, so a lot of times I'll just play with the naval battles instead of actually playing the campaign, but the campaign is fun too. It took me a little bit of getting used to with the campaign because it's a lot different from Medieval 2 Total War, but once I got used to it, it's quite fun. And then there's both Medieval 2 Total War and Empire Total War actually have stuff in the New World. So Medieval 2 had like Aztecs and Maya and civilizations, and then Empire kind of had like a bunch of different Native American factions, and so that was quite a bit of fun too. And then also there's Shogun 2 Total War. So Shogun 2, I didn't like it quite as much as the other ones, just because I'm not as interested in that time period and things like that. But this though was quite a bit of fun for me, and I played it quite a lot. And still definitely a really good game. There's ninjas and samurai and all sorts of the stuff you'd expect to see in the Total War game. And then Rome Total War, I just had the original. I never played the expansion. Once in a while it would crash on me. I think that was just because of my computer I was using. But yeah, so a lot of them I haven't actually been able to play as much as I want. Right now I only have the Shogun 2 Total War. The others I have the computer game, but for some reason I lost the CD key, so I can't play them. Anyways, so yeah, Rome Total War. I remember a lot of times my brother and I we would fight with just the AI. So we would get a battle set up, and we'd get like one. We didn't play online. We just played with one computer. So we'd have it set up where we'd control one group of like peasants, and then there'd be another group of peasants, just to make it fair, so that we're not controlling any of the actual important troops. And then we'd use the money and pick out our armies with our different factions and fight each other. So we had a lot of fun with that game, and we did the same thing with some of the other games. But yeah, Rome Total War, definitely a great game. The original game was quite a lot of fun with the different factions, and then eventually you get into the barbarian one with, and I think they really did a good job historically and everything else with there's the Goths, um, there's Goths, there's Franks, there's just all sorts of barbarians that you would want and imagine, and other civilizations too, like the Greeks. So the original Rome, I thought it was really well done. And then Rome 2 Total War is the only one I haven't actually bought. Eventually I'll probably buy it, but I'm going to wait till it gets cheaper because I've heard bad reviews about it. But I still probably am going to buy it and play it. Hopefully it's not as bad as people say it is, but even if it is, I really want to try out some of the different campaigns. I think they have Egypt. I think it's under Ptolemy though, so it's after kind of Rome, after Greece is invaded, and after there's been. It's definitely not the glory ages of Egypt, but I think there's also a Sparta campaign, so I think it does more with the whole kind of region instead of just focusing on Rome and allowing Dia to kind of do more than the original game. Um, like I said, I have heard bad things about it, but I'll probably still try it anyway. And then, yeah, so where I think, here's my favorite part, I think where the Total War series should go from here. So there's all sorts of forums online and probably on YouTube too, of what Total War should do next. So it's a little sad that I've been hearing bad reviews about Rome 2 Total War, but haven't actually played it. I think it might be okay or it might be bad, but will remains to be seen. Uh, Hopefully it's. I still don't think it's nearly as bad as Roller Coaster Tycoon World, so at least there's hope, right? And but I think there's a lot of uncovered areas where they could go. I think there's one called Attila, but I think that's just kind of like the expansion to the original Rome with the barbarian and stuff, or the second Rome 2 Total War. But I think there's a lot of room to expand. So I haven't actually played the Greek. I haven't played Total War 2 at all. I think they did a little bit with Greece, but I think they could. Where I think the next Total War should go, I think they could do something in the modern era, like World War I, World War II, and maybe even like Vietnam, or I'm not sure necessarily about terrorism. That'd be kind of hard because there wouldn't necessarily be a set faction that you're trying to defeat. But Vietnam, the only problem I see with all those types of games is it's very two-sided. There's there's the Axis versus the Allies, or um, there'd be like the communists versus the capitalists. So that doesn't necessarily fit into the Rome or into the Total War with having it being two-sided like that. There's usually a bunch of various different factions all fighting each other, hence the name Total War. So I'm not sure how they'd fit that in there. And the same thing with religion. I'm not sure if how that would quite fit in there. But I suppose they could have like the government type instead of religion. So you could have like fascism instead of religious buildings. You could have like fascist type buildings. That might be one way to solve that. And then as far as different factions, I don't really know how they'd solve that, since it seems like there'd be a lot of different choices. It'd be one side versus one other side instead of everybody kind of fighting. So, but anyways, I think that would definitely be doable. I think even in one of the mods they have had like tanks and stuff, a Great War mod. But as far as ships, I think they definitely could do it in planes. So I mean, tanks and infantry would be pretty much just like cavalry and riflemen from before. I think that they definitely could do that. And then as far as like planes, I think there's a number of different ways that they could do that. They could do it kind of just automatic, kind of like the ships used to be in Medieval 2 Total War or the Rome Total War. And then, or they could do it if they're going to incorporate it where you can actually do it. I think that'd be where you can actually watch them in the battles. I think that'd be even a lot cooler. So the planes, I think they could either have like a certain number of, it could be kind of like the general special abilities where every so often, you get a fighter strike and then you can use them, and then they could still get shot at during that time, or like every 5 minutes or whatever you can call in an airstrike, or it could just be kind of separate on its own thing where they're kind of flying around and throughout the game, like throughout the whole battle there. I think that might make them a little overpowered, but yeah, I think either of those would work quite well. I think they definitely could do it. And so yeah, I think in the future would be a cool place. Um, some other things I think they could do would be Greece. I know they kind of did that with Rome 2 Total War, and I don't totally know what they have or haven't done, but I think they could have like the Greek city-states all fighting each other. Again, that's kind of two-sided because you kind of have the Athenians and all their city-states in the Athenian League versus the Spartans and all their city-states allied with them. You know, the Spartans and the Macedonians and uh, all those. But anyways, I think yeah, that still having the city-states would be quite fun with the Rome or with the sorry with Greece. Also, I think they could do more with Egypt, like in the glory days of Egypt. They could do something with maybe the Mediterranean, like the cradle of civilization. They could have like Egypt and Sumerians and Babylonians and all of those. Israel, even. There's a lot of, I think there's a lot of potential in the Middle East. And they could also have one, so they had the Ottomans in the Empire Total War, but I think there's still more potential in the Middle East. And they had them in the Crusades too. There was the Middle East, but I think earlier in the Middle East, like the cradles of civilization, they could do a lot more with that, especially with Egypt. Um, they could call it like a cradles of civilization type of, or a Fertile Crescent type of game, or Fertile Crescent Total War, or Egypt Total War. There's just so many potentials with the region, and really with the whole Mediterranean that they could do that they either haven't done or haven't totally done. They just haven't done it. So I think there's a lot of potential there. Another thing would be India. You could have a number of different campaigns for India. You could have like the Mughals, the Muslims that came in and invaded, versus the southern part of India, and versus some other local factions. You could have the Indian, like where there's a bunch of different local rajas, rulers fighting each other. Um, yeah, I think they could do a lot more with India. Um, Scramble for Africa, I think they could do something there. I don't think Empire Total War did much in Africa except for Egypt, the Egyptian campaign. So I think they could do like kind of another Empire's Total War, but maybe a little later in history, like the Scramble for Africa, something with Eastern Asian colonies, colonization in general. Another thing would be definitely the Mongols. So the Mongols were all over the place. There's different, you could have them fighting each other and other factions at the same time, because that's pretty much what they did. You could have like the Khanate of the Golden Horde up in Russia. You could have the Khanate in the Middle East. You could have the Khanate, the main one in Mongolia. I think that'd be pretty cool to have Mongols. Also, I think they could do something with more with Asia. They could do um, they could do like Southeast Asia, like with the war elephants and Siam and all the other different local factions. They're kind of like the mod that they had for Mountain Blade. They had one kind of like that. I think they could do that with Total War. There's a bunch of different factions, and you could have like Portugal in there too. Another thing would be kind of central, like Southeast Asia, or not Southeast Asia, sorry, just Eastern, the Far East in general. You could have like empires, like dynasties, Total War, or something like that, where you have like China. You could have the Japanese invasion of Korea. You could have, and then you could have like turtle ships with that, and samurais invading the Koreans. You could have the Korean, those rocket the rocket type things with the flaming arrows that shoot out really fast, if you know what I'm talking about. You'd have a lot more with China because they always have Japan, but I think China kind of gets left out. You could have China involved with the Mongols. You could have just Chinese dynasties in general. So I think Asia, there's a lot more room for a new Total War, and the Near East, there's a lot of room for Total War, and also the modern era. I think those would be my top picks. If you have any other recommendations that you would recommend, or you have any comments, please feel free to leave them in the comment section below. And as always, thanks for watching.